Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
और किसके सुनिए यार, हमारा एक सच्चा साथी है मिर्ची एफएम लंबा साथी.
I love Mirchi FM. It's so hot.
देखे में लाल लाल, खाए में हाय हाय. Tangi tauwa में Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singatoka, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva. It's hot.
हम वहीं के लिए लंबा सा में रहता है, तो क्या बताइए हम मिर्ची एफएम सुनता है.
Mirchi FM, बहुत जुलूम जुलूम.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
In this bulletin, Reverend Dr. Tuikila Wangai Ratu laid to rest next Thursday. Bainimarama government accuses the Labour Party of lying to Fijians. And Fulton College starts afresh after 74 years. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The late president of the Methodist Church in Fiji, Reverend Dr. Tuikila Wangai Ratu, will be laid to rest next Thursday. Epeli Tokuasa reports.
The Methodist Church is mourning the death of Reverend Dr. Wangai Ratu, who passed away yesterday morning.
With a profound sadness that we officially announce the passing away of the president of the Methodist Church in Fiji and Rotuma, Reverend Dr. Tuikila Kulilevu Wangai Ratu. He follows that path of the faithful believers in Jesus Christ, in trust, deed, and dedication to the service of his Lord and Savior.
Reverend David Tanawanda says the funeral gathering will begin at the Jubilee Hall in Turek on Monday.
The church in Fiji has lost its chief shepherd and a great spiritual leader who had a vision for the church and its role in the sanctification of this dear nation.
The church has prepared a burial site beside the Baker Hall in the Vuilevu in Osori.
That was so solemn to Dr. Wangai Ratu, and he gave his time to try and renew and to recover it from its present position.
Reverend Pauliasi Watanitawake said the late president did something no other church leaders has done before.
He applied what's in the church constitution, and that is for the president to act on his power to make decisions on any important issues, even though it was not decided in the meeting. It's for the ministers and church members to follow the decision, like the one on the Yangona.
A standing committee will meet tomorrow to decide who will be the acting president until the next annual conference. According to Reverend Nawandra, anyone who has previously held the position can be the acting president. Epeli Tukuasa, FBC News.
The Bainimarama government is accusing the Labour Party of incessantly lying to Fijians about the state of the national economy. Fiji Labour Party leader Mahendra Chaudhry recently claimed the present government is handling finances poorly and that Fiji's economy only ever did well under a Labour-led government in 1999. Shanal Sivan with this exclusive report.
Labour Party leader Mahendra Chaudhry claims his government's economic performance in 1999-2000 was the best ever for Fiji. The government says this is another Chaudhry lie.
Any first-year economic student will tell you that when you are calculating economic growth rate, it depends on what you're using as the base. So if, for example, you have one particular year where the economy is not done well, perhaps because of a cyclone or a drought, in fact, which was the case in 1998, there was a downturn in agricultural output, etc., because of there being a major drought. Now, if then there is a growth, if you compare that, then obviously the growth rate will look to be a lot more higher.
Syed Kayum says Chaudhry is making false claims as his party came to power only in March 1999.
So, almost 4 months had already passed. So you cannot necessarily claim, total credit for what had actually happened. And this is the kind of lack of integrity in the analysis that many of these politicians throw out in the public space. Absolutely no credibility. They just pick and choose which figure suits them.
Chaudhry also claims the present government's handling of finances is the most abysmal to date for Fiji. But the government says Fiji has had only 3 spurts of consistent economic growth. The first was in the early 1970s following independence. Then it was between 1992 and 1996. And again under the Bainimarama government over the past 4 years.
Indeed, the projections are it will grow for at least another 3 years. So we are on the right path, and that is the strength of any economy. You can't say, 1 year was 9% and suddenly drops off to 1% or minus 1%, then that it's all right just because we had a 9% growth rate. And even though your calculation may be based on a sort of dubious base rate.
FBC News had made several attempts to interview Mahendra Chaudhry. He says he is not ready for an interview yet. Attempts to contact him this afternoon also failed. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama says young Fijian votes will determine the outcome of the national elections in September. Bainimarama told the people of Kandavu today he will be standing in the coming national elections as the head of a new political movement which he will be announcing next month. He continues to be critical of many old politicians who are holding on to the past.
They have no fresh ideas to take the country forward. They are locked in the same mindset that created our national traumas in the first place. They are bogged down in the same old politics of sowing suspicion and discord. They want to re-empower the same elites who brought Fiji to its knees in the first place. They are yesterday's men and women. They have nothing to offer Fiji's young people. They have nothing in the way of a bold vision to take our nation forward. They put themselves and their interests first, not Fiji first. And their old ideas, their constant copying, hopping and jockeying for power, deserve to be rejected.
Bainimarama has urged young Fijians not to pay attention to these politicians. The Electoral Commission will begin educating voters once the elections regulations are ready near the end of this month. Attorney General Said Qayyum says educating voters will be vital in the months leading up to the elections. He says the Electoral Commission is already working with various parties, including a number of NGOs.
Many of the countries that we've been meeting up with have indicated their willingness to provide funding for voter education. And I think that 6 months is quite a long time too, to actually have that voter education, because sometimes you don't want to start it too soon because people probably forget it towards the end.
Said Qayyum says it's vital the public knows the voting system to avoid past mistakes. Justices of Peace told to take their work seriously. That's after the break.
Gonga elambasa Bula FM number 2 na sere.
Ndo talita kana borong en Bula FM number 2 na sere su.
Kau buat itu gerak-geraki au rewat juga nistima au ndo talita kana borong en Bula.
Bola bina Fiji Bula FM number 2 esinga toka.
Bola bina era roga Bula FM number 2 tikoga.
Bula FM number 2 en sere.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. A 60-year-old U.S. accountant who was busted for allegedly smuggling drugs into Fiji has been told by the Lautoka High Court to seek proper legal advice. Gregory Wilcox is believed to have smuggled in close to 3.8 kilograms of methamphetamine while he was transiting through Fiji. Akosita Tale was in court and filed this report.
Wilcox appeared before Justice Sudarshana De Silva this morning and requested that his case be moved closer to the U.S. Embassy in Suva. This application was denied. Justice De Silva advised Wilcox to get the best advice from the Legal Aid Commission. If found guilty, he could be fined $1 million, life imprisonment, or both. He was arrested by customs officers at Nandi International Airport during a routine check of his bag when they discovered the crystal-like substance believed to be methamphetamine packed into a hidden compartment. Meanwhile, 35-year-old Talat Mohamud, who allegedly murdered his 53-year-old aunt at Nakabu settlement in Nandi late last month, has also been remanded in custody by the Lautoka High Court. It's alleged he went to his aunt's house on the day of the murder to tell her about his affair with her daughter. A dispute arose, and the deceased allegedly stabbed Mohamud's hand before he got hold of the knife and fatally stabbed her. Mohamud fled the scene when the deceased son arrived home and hid at Wailolo Beach. The police caught him 2 days later. Wilcox and Mohamud will both reappear at the Lautoka High Court on March 7th. Akusita Talei, FBC News.
Fulton College has finally completed its relocating from the east to the west, opening its new campus at Sambeto in Nandi. The Seventh-day Adventist Church leaves behind 74 years of history in Tailevu after being pushed to leave by landowners who are after increased rentals. Christopher Chand reports.
It's a new beginning for Fulton College. Forced to relocate over a land dispute has resulted in this $20 million development at the foot of the sleeping giant in Sambeto. Education Minister Felipe Mbole and the church's global leader Ted Wilson did the honors.
By January 2003, the college found itself a co-defendant in a legal challenge primarily between the landowners and the Native Land Trust Board at the time. As the legal process dragged into 2004, the College Board started to realise that relocation may be necessary.
The school has students from Fiji as well as 9 other Pacific countries and plays a significant role in grooming some of our best teachers. This is the 3rd relocation for this iconic educational institution.
Fulton has changed site 3 times, as you heard from the principal earlier this morning, and the institution's status keeps getting better each time. I believe that it is not a coincidence that after 74 years of operation in Tailevu, the University College has moved closer to the Nandi International Airport.
The college has finally opened its new doors with classes set to begin on March 10th. This is inside the new facility, which boasts larger classrooms when compared to the old Fulton.
The major issues really are just finishing off our student residences and the staff accommodation. Most of this is already operative. We're just waiting now to be able to fit it out with the equipment that we will be purchasing, as well as the equipment that we'll be bringing from our current property.
It has been an emotional journey for the school, relocating hundreds of miles to another part of the country and leaving behind 74 years of memories is not easy. But Tailevu's huge loss is today Nandi's biggest gain. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
50 new justices of peace sworn in today have been told to take their duties seriously and not draw public complaints about their services. The newly appointed JPs have been reminded to always be impartial and avoid conflicts of interest.
Do swear that I will well and truly serve the people of the Republic of Fiji.
The oath says it all. It's a reminder to the new JPs of the need to adhere to their promise to serve every day.
At one time, only prominent persons were appointed JPs, but some of those were either too important or too busy or never to be found at home. Alas, they were not much help to their local communities. Nowadays, a JP is expected to be a person who is modest, down to earth, and helpful to all and sundry who seek his or her services.
Judge Justice Anthony Gates has warned the JPs not to charge fees for their services.
If you do, members of the public are bound to complain. This will cause an inquiry to be commenced. If the allegation is found to be true, it might lead to the cancellation of your appointment.
JPs are usually asked to witness signatures and sign statutory declarations. They also have bailiffs and police officers coming to them for affidavits of service to be sworn before them. Judge Justice Anthony Gates is urging them to carry out their task correctly and honestly.
What you have to aim for all the time is to act independently, impartially, neutrally, and in a non-political, non-partisan way in your duties.
This is a community service. Since we have given ourselves to the community to serve them, so I think it is our best opportunity to serve them to our best of our knowledge and to our ability, and we always should be truthful in our life.
During the term of their appointment, the JPs will be undergoing further training which aims to better their standard of service and reduce the number of complaints against them. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
President Ratoepeli Nailatikau has reminded the youth of Kiribati on the dangers of HIV and AIDS. As the UNAIDS Special Representative to the Pacific, Ratoepeli made the comments in a press conference in Tarawa. Ratoepeli is on a state visit to Kiribati. He advised the youth to be careful and wise and to know what they should do to avoid contracting HIV and AIDS. Ratoepeli added it was his firm belief AIDS could be eradicated through responsible, safe sexual practices. He is now on his way to Nauru. And Jamie joins us now with sports. What do you have for us?
Good evening. Tonight in sports, good news for Fiji Rugby. Relations between the FRU and International Rugby Board appear to be improving, and the Fiji Warriors name an extended squad for the Pacific Rugby Cup. These stories and more after the break.
Today FM is #1 here in Singapore.
We love Today FM in Mombasa. It rocks!
My favorite station in Nandi is Today FM.
Listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks in Sabah.
Lotta kasi love Today's kid music.
I love Today FM because they play all my songs.
We love Today FM at Bunibal Mombasa. Yeah, it rocks!
I love Today FM because it rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. It seems the Fiji Rugby Union has patched things up with the International Rugby Board. Relations between the two were strained after the IRB's suspension of grants until Rugby House adopted key financial reporting, administration and government reforms.
They are already starting to help us. IRB has volunteered to pay for all the player insurances for 2014 to 2015. So we already started engaging. They already started putting up their hands to pay for things to FRU.
The IRB committed some $1.74 million in direct funding to FRU in 2013 and significant additional financial assistance to participate in international tournaments. 2 weeks remain until the opening round of the Pacific Rugby Cup competition. The Fiji Warriors side can expect a tough outing with the likes of Samoa, Tonga, Super Rugby franchise development teams, as well as the Argentina Pampers 15 in the mix. Officials have named an extended squad in order to prepare for any setbacks that may occur through the duration of the regional tournament.
It's a 30-member squad. We've increased it to 35 to ensure that we have enough reserve because of injury or any other issues that may come up.
A name synonymous with TV in Fiji is back home to promote the beautiful game. Tukahamua's appointment as Oceania Football Confederation's head of television has landed him home for a short while to establish a more structured development of soccer in Fiji and the region. Talendau Dakadaka reports.
Tukahamua aims to use his new position with the OFC to uplift the standard of soccer in the region and also promote a healthy and active lifestyle.
It's outside the traditional broadcast area that I'm used to, but it's focused really on highlighting and looking at all of the football that is played, all of the soccer that's played in all of the island countries. We have a responsibility to lift the profile and awareness of all the competitions, and over time it's our hope that we can use soccer really as an instrument for highlighting all of these social causes, more active participation in sport.
Moore adds he would also like to see more local players feature in competitions around the region to develop their skills and understanding of the game.
Really what we'd like to encourage is to have more of our players or more players from Fiji move and play in the other leagues around the region. It lifts their exposure to different skills, lifts their understanding of the technical aspects of soccer, and hopefully over time we'll be able to see teams from the islands represent Oceania at Club World Cup and hopefully have a very good run at World Cup qualification.
Moa is in the country for a week, talking to media and other interested parties on ways to raise awareness about soccer. Chalendo Takadak, FBC Sports.
That's it from Sports Tonight. Good evening.
Schools stand to win rewards such as stationery packs, sporting equipment and computers in a new loyalty program launched by Goodman Fielder. The Cool Stuff for Schools initiative involves students, parents and the general public collecting tokens that can be found in all Crestchick and Wholebird labels and sending them to the school of their choice. The schools can then pick the rewards according to the number of tokens collected. General Manager Chris Zayman says this is a very unique opportunity for everyone to get involved and help their local school. And time for an update from the weather girl. How's the sun shining on your end, Jen?
Well, like everyone else, Jackie, it shined in the morning and then settled behind some clouds in the afternoon. Most of us had to deal with rain as well later on in the day. Looking at temperatures, Ba and Lambasa are the warmest on 33 degrees, and tailing them on 32 is Suva, Nandi and the Sugar City. Slightly cooler and happy about it, I'm sure, is Savu. Clouds and showers are forecast tomorrow, with the sun expected to come out full force in the morning for our westerners. Nothing dramatic in our marine forecast. East to northeast winds are at 15 to 20 knots with moderate seas. And here's an epic photo taken yesterday afternoon at Koronio in Nandarivatu. We call it Koro here. It's epic because we're looking out towards Mount Tomanivi in the far distance, which happens to be the highest mountain in Fiji at 1,324 meters.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. The top stories again. Reverend Dr. Tuikilakila Wangairatu will be laid to rest next Thursday. Bainimarama government accuses the Labour Party of lying to Fijians, and Fulton College starts afresh after 74 years. On to our poll question. This week we're asking, should health checks be made mandatory for PSV drivers? Visit the FBC website to answer. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your stories at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. It's FBC News for tonight. Good evening.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Waltoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about Batu Cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.